Hello, everyone, and welcome to the greatest.
Blueprint.
I am one of your hosts, Dr. Kathleen Walls, and I am joined by my co host.
Deana Davis, licensed therapist and social worker and self-love coach.
That's right. I was like, that's what I was waiting to come out. It was like,
Yeah, it's been a day, so
yes, yes. All
very-
right. Wait, it's been a week and it's only Tuesday, right?
for sure.
So, all right. Well, honey, please, the way that my phone and email and everything been blowing up over this Risa Tisa Tisa Risa, I had to look. It has just been Risa Tisa. Let me get her name right.
Yes.
Risa Tisa. That's it. And then somebody literally right before I came on sent me a video of apparently the man's ex-wife. So,
Oh,
uh-huh. So for people who don't know, there's a whole social media storm happening on TikTok. I don't know, is it popping off on Instagram too?
it's carrying over.
Is
It's
it?
yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Around this woman and her relationship, and she describes her husband or ex-husband as a pathological liar. And apparently it went viral over the weekend where she dropped like 52 videos in 2 days. I said, I know I'd be feeling like dropping all my content, but I don't know if it would have that type of firestorm.
Right.
So mine is just really just trying to clean off my computer and my phone.
No.
But yeah,
And hers
it's
was very intentional
yes,
and
it
very
was.
methodic. Yeah.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Mm-hmm.
So from all of that, it was like, do we delve into that? Yes, I know it's a hot topic, but people are binge watching this thing like crazy. I laughed because I was like, all right, today was the first day back for a lot of people to work. But I
Mm-hmm.
was like, how many people work today? Because
No,
I'm wondering,
and
right? They was busy watching that.
Risa
There's
Tisa,
yes, there's
the
group
Risa Tisa
chats going on.
series,
Right.
right? Mm-hmm.
I said she needs to trademark her name because now it's gonna be a whole thing. Don't you get Risa Tisa?
Right.
Like it's a
I'm
it's a
Risa
whole movement.
Tisa. Let's
That's
get a
right.
t-shirt.
It's a whole movement. And I said and probably a Tyler Perry movie waiting to happen.
Yes. So God,
So
you
it's
already
the
know.
thing.
You better get a trademark and all that. And
That's what I'm saying. That's
yeah, 'cause
right.
they will snatch it up.
Honey, 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 honey. But from that, good evening, everyone. And from that, that really leads us to, last week was Valentine's Day. A week before that, you and I had a show that said, don't call in love if you're not ready for it and preparing for it. My husband and I did a Stronger Together show last Thursday, um, called What Is This Thing
Mm-hmm.
Called Love? So then for her to come out with her videos this weekend and people jumping all over that, it's like this thing called love really does need to be explored and understood. And it led us to tonight's topic about this fear of love.
Mm-hmm.
We want it, we seek it. Old research, Maslow has it in his hierarchy of needs. It's tier number three, where
Mm-hmm.
love and belongingness, and this whole idea that many people don't even move beyond the love and belonging. It literally comes before self-esteem
Mm-hmm.
and self actualization. And people don't even, once they get that love and belongingness, a lot of people are like, okay, I got what I want. And the growth stops there. Now, there's
Mm-hmm.
growth and development in relationships, but
Mm-hmm.
that self focus tends to stop there. Um, but then yet, people do things to sabotage it
Mm-hmm.
and they're fearful of it. They want it. It's like, I want it, but I don't want it. I'm scared. And it's like, what is this? What is this fear about? Why do we end up working against ourselves? Again,
Mm-hmm.
in this Risa Tisa situation, I don't know either of these people. So I can't speak to anything other than what people have told me because I have not watched
Right.
I only watched the introduction video. I did watch that to try to understand what this whole thing was about.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that's it. But it's like I would imagine this theme of fear and love presides throughout a lot of these videos. So what are your thoughts, feelings, whether it's about that or any just the topic in general?
Well, I think in a situation with the Risa Tisa, right? I'm saying it right.
Mhm.
The
Mhm.
series, I
Yes,
don't know if it will be a trilogy or
the new TikTok series.
daily or what, you know what I'm saying.
Right. Right.
But I feel like on the contrary of what we're talking about, the fear of love, I feel like she
Mhm.
was. No, I did watch a few, not of the series, but the cliff notes of
Oh,
people
okay.
summarizing, the
What's
whole
going
thing,
on?
right?
Mhm.
And the theme of the cliff notes that I've been watching is that she was chasing love.
Mm.
She was chasing love. And so when you're
Mhm.
chasing it, you're
Come on.
blindly like running after it. So it's funny.
Mhm.
I just had a conversation about our topic for tonight and just giving some
Mhm.
outside, insight. And
Mhm.
there's a such thing as the runners, the chasers, and I named the people that are neutral, where it's like you're
Mhm.
in limbo, you're trying to figure out, okay, who do I give it to? You've done the healing work, you're not running from it, you're not chasing after it, but it's kind of like
Mhm.
the neutral space. So
Hmm.
I kind of put, this is just my opinion of the Risa Tisa. Oh, notebook. Sorry, guys. Notebook and pens, please. Notebook and pens.
So
Okay.
you said the runners, the chasers, and the in betweens, the neutrals. What are you
That's
calling them?
that's just what I named it really quickly. Yes.
Okay.
We could
Hey,
dive
Les.
to it deeper, but
Okay.
there's the runners that run from love, the chasers that chase after love, and then the neutrals that are kind of like, okay, what do I do with it? Like I'm ready to give it to someone, but I don't. I'm
Mhm.
caught more cautious, like so they're kind of like they're waiting.
Mhm.
So in my opinion, I feel as though based off of the videos, I have not watched the 50-part series, but
Mhm.
based off of what the people were saying on TikTok, is that she was blindly chasing after love. Like she was ignoring red flags and
Uh,
it just was like very aware, like, okay, girl, like
mhm.
say what now?
Mhm.
So there are, according to the people,
Yes.
are cracks in the stories where it's just like, okay. And then some question, is she even telling the truth?
Well, that was my question.
Because how do we don't know any of these people, right?
Right.
And so people
Right.
make up stories all the time,
That's
and
right.
it could be she could have really been married to that person,
Yeah.
but did she embellish the story just
Mhm.
to
Right.
see? And
Yeah.
I also watched the introduction, and she
Okay.
said that she changed the names because she
Yes.
doesn't want to get sued and all of that.
Yes.
So we don't really, it could be a whole fiction novel
It could be
that we
a
don't,
fantastic one.
a fantastic one with
Yes.
cliffhangers and all types of different
Yes.
things. Like, so yeah, people were texting me as well, like literally probably like an hour before we started. Like, oh
Mhm.
my OMG, did you watch the recent Tisa series?
Mhm.
And I just was not compelled to, and that's what I think
Yeah.
we talked about as
Yep.
well. Like,
Yep.
do I have? It's 5 hours.
Right.
Do I have 5 hours to commit
I
to watch
don't.
someone else's
Drama.
trauma and drama?
Yeah.
Like,
Come on. Come
yeah.
on.
So I
Trauma
could.
and drama.
Yeah, I couldn't
Yeah.
pull myself to do it. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, well, when we clicked on the name, of course, now the algorithm is going to do its
Oh
thing,
yeah.
pop us, boom, boom, boom. So I
Yeah.
watched a couple of clips, but I would put her in the category of chasing love because
Mhm.
there's no way, like, and then I
Mhm.
don't even know how long they were together, but
Mhm. Well,
and then who was her wisdom circle? Like, it's like so many questions that I have, like, girl, call me, like,
wait. And that's what people would sending me messages talking about. Oh, she need to talk to you. Oh, she needs.
yes.
I said, oh my goodness, could you imagine her coming on the show? We would
No,
ask so many questions,
no.
right?
She was like, okay, respectfully, guys, I'm gonna exit stage left.
Right.
We
Right. So with that, I love this idea of runners, chasers, and neutrals. And to our listening audience, I think it is important that you identify when you've been a runner. I know I've been a runner,
yes,
right? Like, right?
yes,
I've been a chaser. Come here, boy.
right.
Right?
Over
And
there.
I'm right. and I've been neutral.
Right.
Right. So I've been all three.
Mhm.
And I think it's important that we do take, my phrase,
Honest
honest
inventory.
inventory, right, of who we are and how we are.
Mhm.
And to your point, I love when you talk about like relationships are not a game of capture the flag,
Right.
right? Are we paying attention to the flags that are there because we end up fearing this thing called love.
Mm-hmm.
And love is technically, right? People say God is love,
Yeah. Uh,
right?
Right. Agape love.
The agape love, right? People say that love is the highest vibration.
Yes.
And so, why would we fear something that is so good,
Mm-hmm.
right? That is so powerful, that is so wonderful, that changes everything. I mean, there's a word, it's called filiophobia,
Mm,
which is that the fear of love, Philophobia, for
mm,
people who want to look it up. Um, but right, it's an oxymoron. It's contradictory. It doesn't even go together to have fear and love in the same. They don't live in the same place.
mm-hmm.
So it just really doesn't make sense to me. And I think love gets a bad rap.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people use the word love when they honestly mean trust.
Mm. So
Oh, she
I
said, wait a minute, what, y'all, did y'all catch it? She said, right.
I think that people is more so fear of the people that are giving the love and not actual the feeling of love or receiving the
Hmm.
love. It's like, and then it's
Hmm.
the lack of trust in the people that are giving, that we're trusting to give us the love, especially if you have experienced, horrible relationships or traumatic
Yep.
childhoods or, poor parental relationships. That's where the trust is built in
Yep.
terms of love, right? That's your purest form of love when you're a baby, even in the womb. Like people experience trauma even in the womb.
Hmm.
And some people don't even realize it, but you do. And
Yep.
so when you're born into trauma, you're not receiving, the
Hmm.
purest form of love. So that's in
Hmm.
the womb, boom, you're into the world and you never received it.
Right.
So a lot of times that trust has to be built in order
Yes.
to even know what love feels like and what it is and what it means
Yep.
to you and what it looks like for you because it
Yep.
looks different for everyone.
Yep.
So yeah,
And
I always tell
that's
my clients like if you don't trust yourself, that means you're not trusting God. And if you don't trust people, you're not trusting God, you're not trusting yourself, you're not in alignment. So I sometimes every time when I say that, people are like, oh, like they like, why'd you
it
stick
takes their
me?
breath away.
Like,
That's
but
right.
it's the truth, right? I had to
Yeah.
have the same conversation with myself. I'm like,
Yep.
okay, God, like we doing this and we're moving
Hmm.
in the space of love. So
Yeah.
those are my
Yeah.
thoughts. The people and the lack of trust.
Yeah. And so we have to look at that, right? So we have trust plus intimacy. Y'all know I like to take it to the board.
Hmm.
All right. So this is a definition that I used, goodness gracious, a long time ago. And it's this whole idea that, right, vulnerability. Can you see that, Dina?
Yeah,
Is the light hitting it too much?
yeah, yeah, it's too much. Yeah,
It's too much light. Okay, let's see. I'll have to take this one off and see if that works.
the middle one maybe.
Yeah, unfortunately, I had to get up and go get the middle one.
Okay,
So I'll
maybe
probably,
um,
yeah, there we
yeah.
go.
Hmm.
Okay. So, right, vulnerability is the result of trust plus intimacy.
Hmm. It's can
Um,
you is
or
T
rather, let me flip it. I'm sorry. Trust plus vulnerability equals intimacy.
She gonna
You
kill me.
said flip it?
No, is Tierra in here? Can you see? I can't see who's entering.
Oh no, I can't. I don't see her at the moment. But it
Okay.
doesn't mean that she's not. They would have to write to let
Oh,
me know.
okay. She probably
Okay.
like, oh my God.
Uh, all right. And unfortunately, I can't see who's on Instagram. It doesn't populate um, in it the same way that LinkedIn does.
Okay.
Right. So trust plus vulnerability, right, equals intimacy. So
Yeah.
we have to, as you were talking about, right, first we got to clarify what type of trust person are we, right?
Trusting. What type of
What,
trust do you have?
yeah,
Right.
what type of trust do we have? What type of trust do we give? Meaning,
Mm-hmm.
are we a person who just automatically trusts 100? Like I meet you and I 100% trust you.
Mm-hmm.
And then any infractions that happen, then I start to deduct my trust level for
Mm-hmm.
you.
Mhm.
Or am I a person who has zero trust for you? I don't know you,
Mhm.
right? I don't got nothing. And then the more that you do for me, the more that I recognize that I can trust you, my trust level builds up. So
Yeah.
first we got to get clear on that
Mhm.
within our own self,
Mhm.
and then get clear on it with whoever we're in a relationship with, because that's going to impact our relationship dynamic.
Mhm.
So if I don't trust you and you're a I trust you 100, there's already a potential conflict there, because anytime I violate a trust situation, you're coming down.
Mhm.
And then I have to determine, do I build you back up? Is it like a bank account
Mhm.
that when you do something, there's a violation, and then you recognize that you violated, you apologize. I might side eye you for a little while, but then I see that you really mean it. Boom,
Mhm.
you built, right? How are we really working with trust? What's going through your mind?
No, I'm just thinking about myself and my journey with trust. And
Hmm.
I always say the prayer
I
like, please,
want people to write that down. Your journey of trust. That's a real
I'm on fire tonight.
that's that. Come on, girl. That's a real king. Go ahead.
So the journey that I took, like I said, I had to build my relationship, my trusting relationship, my trust in God. I had to build that back up, right? Because
First.
it was very low.
Yep.
And I was just letting people just in willy nilly, not really
Mhm.
like paying attention to what was going
Mhm.
on. And
Mhm.
so once I started to build my relationship up with God, it was
Mhm.
like, okay, I knew I had a trust, like a higher level of trust that God would not bring anyone into my life that
Mhm.
wasn't meant to be there, right? And I know everyone has a choice. Like when they can make a choice to fall out of alignment with me, but the entry point into my life, I knew after a certain point, it's like, okay, God, if they're here, it's because you sent them there. Because
Mhm.
we got like Fort Knox to run this joint, okay?
Mhm.
So for me, it's like my trust level is pretty high because I trust that God placed you in my life for a reason.
Mhm.
And it's really up to me to decipher and for you to make the proper choices, but for me to make the decision, okay, do I like this? Do I not like that? And
Mhm.
to remove myself from situations and relationships and friendships that
Mhm.
no longer serve me. So
Mhm.
it's really
Mhm.
for me now, and I got chills as I'm saying it, it's more so like just trusting the process, like you say, trust the process and the processor,
Mhm.
and just going with how I feel. So
Mhm. Mhm.
that's where I give all trust because I trust that God brought them into my life for a purpose, and
Yeah,
that they fall out of alignment with me. It's like, okay, well, I know that they were removed or I
I,
was removed
I
from
got
them.
ready to say. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. So that's the trust piece. I trust that God brought you in. I also trust that God will remove you.
Yes.
Right?
And it's sometimes it's hard, like, but once I get settled into the decision, like once I process it fully, it's like,
Mhm.
okay, I know the prayers that I say
Mhm.
and I know where I'm going. So you're no
Mhm.
longer in alignment with where
Mhm.
I'm trying to go.
Mhm.
Um, and you're removed. So
And I'm gonna just change one word because I am your mom tour. Not
mhm.
where you're trying to go, where you are going.
Oh, where I am going. Yes.
Right. Okay. So everybody gets it, y'all. Everybody
Yes.
gets it. So we right. So now if we go back to this idea of trust, and for those who are just joining us, we're talking about this fear of love. And one of the things that I had said was that I think love gets a bad name and a bad rap. And a
Mhm.
lot of times people are saying that they're fearful of love, where they're actually not, actually not fearful of love.
Nah, no.
Hey
You better have been here the whole time.
there. It's not that they're fearful of love, it's the trust
Yeah.
piece.
Hmm.
Because again, if we truly are talking about love, real love, Mary J. Blige, real love, then we're talking about, come on, there she go. Then we're talking about the highest vibration,
Hmm.
right? Love does not do anything to hurt you.
Right.
Now, people will call love out of its name.
Hmm.
People will masquerade a thing called love, but
Hmm.
that ain't love. I mean, Jill Scott talked about it, right? I thought it
Hmm.
was love, but it was not
Hmm.
love. And so we have to take time to know what love honestly is. So I know on the Stronger Together episode that Edmund and I did last Thursday, we talked about defining love.
Mhm.
And people need to take time to define what love is and have a working definition of it, as well as having working actions, your actions
Mhm.
on what how you present love in the world. Because if we talk about, right, the golden rule, you're going to treat people like you want to be treated. And a
Mhm.
lot of times people flip it, like you get what you give. N-
Mhm.
no, I'm not doing that, because you might not be giving me what I want to get.
Mhm.
So I need to put out what I want to receive in
Yes.
return.
Mhm.
Now, you may not be worthy of what I'm giving. You
Yes.
may not value what I'm giving, but it doesn't mean that it changes the way in which I choose to give. I just choose to give it elsewhere.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
No, the valuing the way that, or people valuing the way that you give love.
Mhm.
Um, that was a hard lesson. That was a hard lesson for me to learn in knowing how much to give to people,
Mhm.
because I know you say like you give all like freely,
Mhm.
but understanding like who was full deserving, like fully deserving of all of my love versus,
Mhm.
or just all of me period versus
Mhm.
not. Yeah. Hey
Mhm.
Leslie. That was hard, because it was just like, well, why aren't they loving me the same way? Like, you pouring
Mhm.
your heart out there and then you just getting like crap. So
Mhm.
for me, it was that leveling up in regards to, this is why I really started my self-love journey.
Talk about it.
Because I kept giving and giving, and I was pouring from myself, pouring and giving it to other people, but I wasn't on the receiving end of
Come
it.
on.
Also didn't know how to love myself, which meant that
Mhm.
I
Oops,
thought,
sorry.
are you
Go
getting?
ahead. Go ahead. Just picking up props. Go ahead. Dropping
I,
props.
yes, distraction, distraction.
Sorry.
Because I didn't know how, like, what I like the proper meaning of love, or how love was supposed to feel. I just was
Yeah.
like giving, and wasn't, my expectations was very low. And
Mhm.
so once
Did
I
you
got
even have any?
no,
Mhm.
probably not. No, I just was like winging, like, I think this is what it is, you know.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
yeah. But then on the other side of it, I think like once I started getting into my mojo, I think my expectations were too high. It's like, okay, I'm giving 1,000, you need to give 1,000 too. And then I had to
Mhm.
level it out where I'm just like, okay, everybody is not going to give me back to me, you know, so I
Mhm.
have to start filling up my own cup so that I don't have this
Mhm.
high expectation that
Mhm.
people are going to just want to pour into me at the 1,000% that I'm pouring into them.
Mhm.
You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So
Mhm.
it took some time to really understand, but then to balance it out, because everybody loves differently.
That's
So
right. That's
yeah.
right. And
Mhm.
it is a pendulum
Right.
swing,
Hmm.
right? Because one, in your journey, as well as in my journey, it was learning how I love
Yeah.
and the capacity that I love,
Hmm. The
um,
fullness.
the
Yeah.
fullness, the way that I love,
Hmm.
right? How it shows up in my life. Like it's so and so last week we were at the center, and there was a gentleman who came in and he said, "Look, before I go, I just want to give you a piece of advice," because he had lost a loved one, and he talked
Hmm.
about how it was the hardest thing that he had ever gone through.
Hmm.
And so he said, he said, "Whoever you love, let them know how
Hmm.
much you love them." To which point, Dr. Wade, God bless her, said, "Oh, you ain't got to tell that one that." She said, "That one right there," pointing to me. She said, "She loves fully and she lets her people know she loves them. You have no question about whether or not she loves you or not. She is not embarrassed by it. She
Hmm.
shares it openly." And,
Yes.
and he was like, "Oh, oh, okay. All right." Right. Because,
You told him.
right. And I appreciated that. Like I didn't have to say it for myself.
Hmm.
Um, and I was glad that my life is doing that,
Hmm.
because I don't want to have any regrets.
Hmm.
And loving somebody and allowing fear to keep me from expressing my love, that is giving fear more power than love. And again, depending on what your definition of love is, for me, God is love. So I don't give anything greater power than God.
Mm-hmm.
So to be fearful of love, it literally does not make sense to me.
Mm.
And that's why I said I think people are using the name love when actually they mean other things like trust.
Mm-hmm. And let's go to vulnerability.
Let's go for it.
It's the fear of being seen,
Come on.
the fear of being open.
You about to
Go
make me
ahead.
get up and run around. Go ahead. Go ahead.
It's the fear of letting people in,
Hmm.
and maybe possibly the fear of rejection.
Yes.
Like if you are too open, like you may be too much for them, but most importantly, it's the fear of being seen.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and y'all can put in the chat other things. Vulnerability. What's up? So you said fear of being seen.
Mm-hmm.
You said rejection.
Yes.
What else? You said one more.
I
Sorry, I didn't capture it. For those who are listening, if you remember what she said, put it in the chat so I can grab it. All right.
I mean, you got
So,
abandonment too, but
oh,
rejection.
you said abandonment. Yeah.
No, I didn't, but you can.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Right. So now, what made me jump when you
Mm-hmm.
said fear of fully being seen, that requires you to know who you are.
Mm.
Right. So what's happening is there's that fear of imposter syndrome. See,
Mm.
people like to throw that term around without it really being an authentic term that applies to them. So, your fear is that people are going to see parts of you that you are not aware of,
Mm.
right? And so, if you truly know yourself and somebody calls something out that's not you, you can speak to it. But
Mm-hmm.
when you don't know who you are and then somebody calls something out, that vulnerability, you're worried that somebody's going to project or put something in you or on you that you can't get rid of,
Mm-hmm.
or that might be true and you're scared that it might be true.
Mm-hmm. No,
Go
you're not.
ahead.
That is true.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. So
Mm-hmm.
this is why we're always talking about self-awareness and know thyself. It is so important because with the fuller understanding you have of yourself, the fuller the more protection you actually have.
Yes.
So y'all know I'm a master artist. It just hasn't come out of my hands yet.
Picasso Jr.
Yes, it's coming. It's coming. All right. So let's see here. So I can. All right. There we go. So if you don't know yourself, it remains hollow.
Mm-hmm.
And then people
No
end up,
substance.
say it again,
No substance.
no substance.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But the more I know myself, the more I'm filled in, the less space there is to take your lies and put them inside of me.
Mm.
Right? The less space there is for me to take your interpretation of me and adopt it if it's not in alignment with who I am.
The more that you're able to see the other people for how they are,
Come on.
because when you do the work, we always tell our clients to do the work, right? And I
Yes.
sometimes it gets lost in the translation because they're like, well, what, like, but what we're referring to is like, okay, when you start tripping, when you start, because I was going to say lack of vulnerability, it leads to sabotaging, right?
Mm,
So the more that you're sabotaging or you feel yourself getting ready to sabotage, you really have to sit and assess the situation logically, like
come on.
take some time. Don't be so quick to respond. Take
Hmm.
some time to look at the full situation and say, okay,
Yes.
why am I tripping? Right.
Yes.
But if you're not even doing the self-awareness work on yourself, you're going to trip.
You
Every
don't even know you tripping.
You don't even know you're tripping because you don't even You're not taking the time out to learn yourself
Exactly.
or even to peep the patterns. What you say,
Come
pop
on.
popcorn and
Pop
peep
the
the
popcorn and peep the pattern. Sit
pattern.
back and pay attention.
Pay attention and watch you. You have to reflect on your life as a movie. And if
Yes.
you're not critiquing like how everybody's watching this 50
Come on.
parts.
52 parts.
Is it 52 now?
It's more than 52 now. It was 52 yesterday.
Wow. Just like
Right.
everybody is taking
They
5+ hours
That's right. They
to
sitting up like
assess
this.
someone else's life
Life.
of
Right.
them being married to a pathological liar.
Right. Right.
Imagine how much time that they can pour into themselves.
Take 5 hours and spend it with yourself as
Take 5 hours
intimately, as intimately as you are watching somebody else.
in
Take
the
that
dark,
5 hours and watch
curled
it with
up
yourself. Come on.
underneath the
Come on.
blanket.
Eating snacks, talking with your friends about somebody
Wait
else's
a
life.
minute. I saw someone pull it up on Apple TV and was watching it through
Oh
the
yeah, I
TV.
heard. Yep, I heard that too.
So
Yeah.
if we're taking all of this time to invest in someone else's
Come
life,
on.
if we
Come
took
on.
that much time to invest into our own life,
You want me to throw tambourines at her, y'all?
I'm just saying, like, life would be so much simpler.
It
And so
would.
this is the work that we're saying to do that you and I have done.
Yes.
We have done the
And
self
continue to
assessment work
do.
and continue to do because
Right.
we're human, so things come up, but
Yes.
it's really being intentional about yourself
Yes.
and really getting to know yourself. So
Yes.
when you enter into a new relationship or just any relationship period, right? Like when I'm speaking of romantic,
Yes.
you won't be so fearful of,
Come on.
letting someone know, okay, this is what happened to me, this is why I do this is that, when I do this, that,
What I
and it's
tell
gonna
you? What I tell you? When I met Edmund, what I tell you? I
yes.
sat him down. I said, "These are the things that I'm working on.
Hmm.
It's up to you whether or not you want to stick around and go through it with me. If you don't, it's fine. And if you do, it's fine.
Yes.
Because either way, guess what I'm doing? I'm working on these three things.
Yes.
And these three things may have an impact on us
Hmm.
because I am going to think about them. I am going to emotionally respond to them. And occasionally, I'm not going to be aware of how my behaviors are responding to them.
Hmm.
So I'm calling, I'm letting you know. So if you see anything that causes me to self sabotage this relationship, I need you to let me know and I need you to help me work through it. I
Yes.
also called my girls. I said, these are things that I need you to watch out for
Hmm.
because I don't want to trip myself up. I'm already knowing that I'm getting ready to walk through a field with
Hmm.
some
A
possible
field of
hinds.
fear.
A
A
field,
field of fear.
come on. But guess what I'm going to do?
Go
I'm
through it.
walking through it
Go through it.
because what here's my line. Get your pen and paper ready. Here it comes. You got to go to it in order to go through it so that you can grow from it. You got to go to it in order to go through it so that you can grow from it.
Hmm.
A lot of people like to run up to it. So if it's a y'all getting all types of drawings tonight.
Picasso, Picasso.
Okay, yep, come on. Y'all want to run up to the lake
Mm.
and then you just want to stand right here
Hmm. Get your feet wet.
and look at it, right? You don't even sometimes you don't even want to get your toe wet.
Right.
Or the infamous statement is people say like I want to lean into it. No, I don't want you to Michael Jackson lean into it. I need you to get in it. I need you to
Submerge.
go across, right? Submerge. Sometimes your head gonna go under, but you will come out on the other side.
They gonna go out. They gonna drink.
That sometimes you may feel like you're drowning,
Very true.
right? I mean, sometimes the tears keep coming
Yes.
and you feel like you're drowning and you
Hmm.
feel like nobody's there, but you got this big old person on the other side waiting for you.
Hmm.
Look at the symbolism. We didn't even know it was there at the time,
Right.
right?
Hmm.
This greater version of yourself that's more filled up with understanding and self awareness and trust because you trust that you are strong enough to go through it. And some people are like, but I don't feel strong enough, but you are.
Hmm.
There's this version of yourself that's waiting for you to go through it so that you can grow from it.
Hmm.
Go ahead. What we got?
No, I mean, the infamous line is that, everything that you want is on the other side of fear.
Come on.
So you have to make the choice, right?
Yeah.
But people, like, honestly, they're not ready to make that, right? So it's like you have to prepare yourself. And I always incorporate spirituality into my sessions,
Mhm.
for the people that do believe in a higher being. But
Mhm.
I'm like, you have to pray. I know for me, it was a lot of prayer. Like, please prepare me to go through this. Please reveal to me what I need to work on, every single day. Please
Yep.
increase this, decrease that,
Yep.
confidence, decrease
Mhm.
all
Doubt
types
and
of
fear.
doubt and fear, remove it
Mhm.
and break it and cut it.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
this is a continuous journey. Now I don't
Mhm.
feel as heavy as I did when I first started, but there are little like pings of it, here and there. But if
Mhm.
I didn't go through and do the work, go through the journey to do the work, the healing
Yeah.
work,
Yes.
I would still be stagnant in the same
Yeah.
space I was in a year or 2 years ago. So
Mhm.
it really is worth it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
worth
And
it.
that's the thing, right? Again, you're talking about taking an investment in yourself
Mhm,
and knowing that you are worth it, right? You are worth love. We are all worth love. We are all worthy of receiving love as well as giving love. Like, I don't want to walk around being fearful, like, oh, I can't give it here or I can't give it there. No, I am love. I walk with love.
mhm,
I'm constantly in love,
mhm,
right? And so as you talk about where's the disconnect, where is the challenge happening? So let me erase the lake of fear for right now. So Deana mentioned this earlier, is that right, whatever your whatever your fear is connected to, first of all, we have to clarify, what are we really fearful of?
mhm,
Right? Are we fearful of being alone? Are we fearful of being rejected? Are we fearful of being abandoned? And then where did that come from?
mhm. The root.
We, right? We have to look at the root of the fear.
Mhm,
For those who have a spiritual base, this is a question that I asked. Dina mentioned it earlier, and it hits people in a way because they have a tendency to lie and say that that's not it. But a lot of times, people are feeling rejected in their spiritual relationship.
mhm,
Okay. And so it's showing up in their person to person
mhm,
relationship,
mhm,
right? So on the human plane, so to
mhm,
speak, this is where it's showing up. But the real connection is here. It's between you and God, you and your higher self. And so you have to see, where have you felt rejected? Where have you felt abandoned? Where have you felt lied to? Where have you felt as though you can't trust God or God let you down?
mhm.
Now you start having those real conversations.
Mm.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Hey, those are hard conversations, like extremely hard, because a lot of people feel like, who am I to question God?
Mhm.
Um, but these are real things that people feel, and until you're able to have the hard conversation, it does kind of keep you stuck, and you're displacing your anger or
Yep.
your feelings onto the people, but it's
Yep.
really your
Alignment.
alignment. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And that's it. And you got to clear that vessel,
Mm-hmm.
because you're absolutely right. Because people are constantly not looking at the root. And so if you think about it from like a plant standpoint, you have, right, you have the root, which is down here.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the stem,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have the leaves.
Yep.
Right? And so many times people want to focus on the leaves,
Mm-hmm.
but the leaves fall off, but it hasn't changed the root and it hasn't changed the stem. And
Mm-hmm.
until you get to the root of the situation, and that's why I'm saying, and that's why we're saying, for those who believe,
Mm-hmm.
you take it to God,
Mm-hmm.
because that's where the relationship lies. And in that relationship, you then are able to develop your other relationships. So even in a therapeutic relationship, the relationship with the therapist is the ideal relationship. We are then teaching our clients how to interact with other people, letting them know that this ideal type of relationship can exist
Mm-hmm.
in the world, and it takes work, and it, depending on the time that it takes,
Mm-hmm.
but it is something that you can have honest, authentic conversations. This is what we're saying here too, for those that believe. You are able to have that honest conversation with God. I remember back in the 90s, I remember falling on my knees and I'm like, I'm mad at you. I know I was taught not to tell you I'm mad at you, but I'm mad at you. And this is what I'm mad at you for. And then I ran down the whole list and I said, and even though I'm mad at you, I'm going to still come to you first. I'm going to come to you in good times and I'm going to come to you in bad times. I will always come to you first. I make that commitment to you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that was my pledge to God. That was my pledge to self. And that was my space. And if I get turned into a pillar of salt, well, then I'm just be salty. Right.
You salty bag.
I'm just a salty bag. Right. But my whole thing was I had to be honest.
Yeah.
Right. I was not going, and this is before any graduate school program, no master's degree, no doctorate, right? This was just me being raw with myself and where I was in my life at that point in time. And it was like, I need to fill this up, right? I need to strengthen myself and I need to be in clear relationship
Mm-hmm.
because that's my most important relationship, and all my other relationships are going to model and come from that one.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
No, I don't have much to say. I think I had a similar experience, but mine was just like, I don't know, a year or two ago. So I had a lot of years of displaced anger and
Mhm.
not fully understanding like why things happened the way that they happened.
Mhm.
Um yeah, so I had to get really like clear on and
Mhm.
begin to trust. Like I have a great relationship with God, and but
Mhm.
it's just certain aspects of my life. It was just like it was not hitting. Like I could be like, oh, I want 25 clients next week.
Mhm.
Boom, I will have
Mhm.
clients. But when I say I want a healthy relationship and this and that, it would take. I kept getting these frogs, and I'm just like, okay,
Yep.
like what is going on? Then
Mhm.
I realized too that my confidence with business was higher than my confidence in relationships
Come
and love.
on.
And so it was easier for me to attract that or,
Yep.
bring
Manage, attract, all of it.
right. And in
Mhm.
terms of love, I had to get into a frequency of being worthy to
Mhm.
receive what I was asking for. So you can't
Mhm.
come in with a conflicted mind where it's like,
Yes.
okay, this is what I want, but you fully don't believe that you are worthy of having it. So that's
Mhm.
where, me creating the lifestyle of my higher self really came in because it was like, okay, God, this is what I want. And
Yep.
it just was very clear to me, like, well, you have to start presenting as this is the lifestyle, this is how you're treating yourself, and then it will naturally come over time. So
That's right.
it took a minute, but we here.
Yeah. Yeah. And right, it takes time. So again, right, if we're thinking from a vibrational
Hmm.
standpoint, I am let's see, is this one working today? Um I'm going to choose purple because it's my favorite color.
Okay, it doesn't look
So
purple over here, but
it
okay.
doesn't look purple over there. Okay, let's see. Uh, I'll
Maybe
add
to them, but I can't see it.
okay, there we
Okay.
go. Okay. So, right. So if we're going to say that that is right, that's love,
Hmm.
right? And then we're going to put, just for seeing it sake, right, that this is fear down here,
Hmm.
right? Whenever you have fear, it's pulling you out of that vibration
Hmm.
that's up here. So, as you were just talking, in your example, as you talked about business, it was easier for you to attract it because there wasn't as much fear,
Yeah, I was very confident.
right? Right. Um, so because the fear was low in amount and the fear was it wasn't pulling you, it wasn't pulling you down, but because there was a lot of fear around the relationship piece, it was really acting like a magnet.
Yeah.
and pulling you to it, which was keeping you away from what you wanted up here. So no wonder why you was jumping around with a bunch of frogs
Yeah.
down here,
Low
right?
vibration.
Right, exactly. Now we're gonna leave because I do have froggy tea. So all frogs ain't bad. Look, but
Oh, you don't want to talk about
I
frogs.
don't want to talk about
Don't talk
frogs, but
about
we
my
can talk about
frog.
fraud. We can talk about frauds, right? So,
Well, that too. That too.
so the frauds
Look,
was
you like,
hanging
she
down
got real
here.
hood, y'all.
Okay,
We
look,
ain't talking about no frogs. Okay. Okay, sis. My
look. Don't nobody say nothing bad about froggy tea. No, nobody. Look, so, for those
oh
who
my
don't know
god.
who Froggy T is, let me just show you Froggy T real quick. I mean, sometimes Froggy got a little attitude, so I'm trying to find one where he ain't in a bad mood.
Mm-hmm.
So, for those who don't know who Froggy T is, there's Froggy T. So,
Yes.
we respect the frog. So,
Gotta respect the frog. Gotta
all right.
respect the
But
frog.
yes, so we have to be mindful of where is fear getting in the way of love.
Yes.
And we have to honestly ask ourselves, so we desire these romantic relationships, we desire friendships, we
Mm-hmm.
even desire, that's right, Leslie, thank you.
What she said?
Thank you. Let's be clear now. That's
Now
right.
I'm off the frogs, okay?
That's right. Cracking up. Thank you. Thank y'all very much. That's right. We support the frogs, right?
Lord.
Okay. So, in all relationships, family relationships, friendships, romantic relationships, and even work relationships.
Yes.
So, when you talk about your ebook How to Heal from a Heartbreak, you're saying that what you teach in that book can be applied in all types of relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And let me be clear, a lot of times people want money and they want an increase in finances. You got to heal that relationship as well. There is fear around money
Yes.
and
That
that
block,
relationship, lots of it.
no, blocks it.
Oh, yes, it definitely blocks it. And I remember someone said to me a long time ago, he said, scared money don't make money.
Mm-hmm.
And that stayed with me, obviously. But I had to look at what is my relationship with money and do I have fears around it?
Mm-hmm.
And then you think about all of the cliches where they say the love of money and idolizing and stuff like that. And so you talk about turbulence in
Mm-hmm.
here around, like my dance moves. So, turbulence around here, it is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so, again, you have to take honest inventory with yourself. What are your honest fears? Write them out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Get them out of your head and write out what are your fears around money,
Mm-hmm.
relationships,
Success.
success. And y'all can put some others in the chat if you want. Failure, body image,
Mm-hmm.
and your body slash and your body image. And I say that because I know some people who have said they don't know how responsible they would be if their body looked a certain way. They
Mm-hmm.
don't, right? So these are fears. And we have to really assess them. And if
Mm-hmm.
you write it down and see what you're afraid of, then you can see, is the fear valid?
I wanna take it a step back.
Come
I
on.
I would like for everyone to also assess where the fear originated from.
Hmm.
Is it your fear or is it your family's fear?
Right.
Right? Because a lot of times, like a lot of our fears, we learn from our
Yes.
parents, our household, from our caregivers, right?
Yes.
So if your mom, like my mom, was very fearful about money. So how you heard scared money don't make money, I heard
Yes.
stale money doesn't make money.
Stale,
Yes.
like
So
stale bread.
no, like stagnant. Like if you just
Oh,
hold
okay.
hold
Oh,
on
oh,
to
oh.
money and you're not moving it, it's not
Yes.
money. So that was what I grew up in. It was like, Mom,
Okay.
can I have a pair of sneakers? I don't have no money, but she would have money, like lines of credit, and it's like
Hmm.
So I grew up like with that same mindset of being fearful to spend money. So remember,
Mhm.
around the time where everything was coming in, it was like,
Mhm.
okay, I was just holding the money, and I'm like,
Mhm.
my mentor, my other business mentor would say, "Girl, spend the money. It's not going to make money unless you spend it."
Mhm.
And so I had to
Mhm.
flip my whole mindset, with
Mhm.
money. That was my first conversation with money, to flip it and be open to spending it. Now it's
Mhm.
not a problem because
Mhm. Because you worked on it. Because
yes,
you worked on it
yes.
actively.
Right. But if I didn't do the work to really think about, okay, why am I so scared to spend money, and took it
Yeah.
back to my childhood, I
Yeah.
would never have known or made that
Made the
connection.
connection.
Right. So
Yeah.
all of these fears, you have to
Yes.
really assess, okay, where does it come from in
Yes.
regards to relationships? Did you see your mom and your dad in a healthy
Come
relationship?
on.
Did you see your mom with multiple men? Did you see her getting hurt? Was it domestic violence in the home? Drug and alcohol? Like, it's so many things that we have to really put in its proper place and
Yes.
give it back to that person,
That's
not
right.
physically, but energetically. Like, this is
Yep.
mine. I'm
Yep.
carrying this here. You can have it back,
So
because it's
true.
not yours to work through. So if
Come
some
on.
do, we work extra hard on other people's stuff
Mm.
or mess
Mm.
that is really not even ours to have to work through. So
Mm.
it may make our load a little bit
Mm.
lighter once we
Mm.
give them back their mess, and we just really work on our own. And I'm tired, y'all, but you can't tell,
Come
okay?
on.
Like, drop all these gems, but it's a real thing.
It is very real. So I'm gonna give y'all a mantra that you can utilize in this. So I'm gonna say it slow, and if not, you'll just have to catch the replay. So
Okay.
here we go. I am grateful now that I release. Well, let me give it to you again. I am grateful now that all unnecessary weight is released from me. Now, that unnecessary weight is energetically,
Mhm.
emotionally, physically, financially. We carry all types of weight, and all of it's energy,
Mhm.
honestly, right? But our mind categorizes it a certain way.
Mhm.
And so, if and when you are ready to release that, then you claim it, you are grateful for it, and it is happening now. So I am grateful now that I release all unnecessary weight throughout the day, every day, easily and effortlessly.
Mhm.
Now, y'all can put that in whatever order you want. I am grateful now that I release all unnecessary weight easily and effortlessly throughout the day, every day.
Mhm.
Because we pick up stuff from people along the way. I know we texted about it yesterday. I've had people years ago. I remember this one particular person. She went to give me a hug. I said, mm-mm.
Mhm.
And she said, "What's wrong?" And everybody in the office turned around and looked. I said, "Don't touch me." She said, "What you mean?" I said, "I don't know what you're carrying on you, but I'm about to go out and work with a whole bunch of children, and I will not take what you got to them kids." And everybody was like, "Oh, snap. No, she didn't." Yes, I did. Because I'm very serious about the energy that I carry, and I'm very serious about the energy that I transfer.
Mhm.
All right. There was another time I was walking in the Willow Grove Mall. I really, really needed and wanted a hug. And it was in graduate school. My energy was low, and I was with a friend. And so they was like, "Oh, Kat, I'll give you a hug." I said, "Don't you touch me." And they said, "Why?" I said, "Because you care about me, and I will literally suck
Sure.
you dry and drain you of your energy." See, I'm mindful of this. And I said, "I will not do that to you."
Mhm.
And then lo and behold, I ran into somebody who I hadn't seen in 10, 15 years. And they ran up on me and they was like, "Cat." And they hugged me, and it was okay because I wasn't going to drain them, because that person who was my friend that was with me would also be giving me their energy willingly. So the energy exchange is real. Go ahead. What you gonna say?
No, I'm very mindful of that as well.
Hmm.
Even down to people who are welcome into my home.
Come
Um,
on.
because that this is a sacred space for
Hmm.
my family and I. So
Hmm.
everybody is not welcome here. I don't touch everyone. I'm
Hmm.
very mindful of my energy, and I'm very mindful when I'm super open and I'm like in
Hmm.
open space and I'm picking up everybody's energy. I could feel it, and so I'm
Hmm.
like, okay, like it's time to go. Like I
Yep.
just like very lightheaded or like
Hmm.
dizzy or something, or I just
Hmm.
feel not myself. So it's
Hmm.
you have to be mindful of who you are
Yep.
interacting with and listen to your body.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I had a client yesterday, and this is in regards to her job. And
Hmm.
she's a social worker. She just started coming back to me.
Hmm.
And she said, every time I'm at work, I feel so drained, right? And she said, I have anxiety when my work phone goes off. And if I'm in another room, I'm like listening for my phone. I think I hear my phone ringing.
Hmm.
And she said, she works with like teens. She's a coworker.
Hmm.
And she's like, I'm always giving, giving, giving. And it
Hmm.
drains because I'm consumed with my families and my family. I mean, my family's and my kids, right?
Hmm.
So she's absorbed so much energy that she has developed like health conditions. She lost
Hmm.
pounds in a short
Hmm.
time span. And immediately I'm just shaking my head like, she's like, that's not the job for me. And I'm like, no.
Hmm.
And she's like, but I
Hmm.
I want to give back. And it's not. I said, you can still be a
Yeah.
social worker and do all the things, but
Yeah.
your body is letting you know that this is not the job for you.
Yes.
You are
Yeah.
not supposed to have these visceral responses to a job. Like you are developing anxiety from a phone. Like you can
Come
hear
on.
it ringing in your sleep. She said,
Yeah.
I'm dreaming about my phone ringing. And
Yep.
this. I'm
Yep.
like, no, it's time
Yeah.
to do something
Yeah.
else. Like, so
Yeah.
just understanding, how your body responds to certain people. If
Yeah.
you're feeling like anxious, that's typically not a good sign. If you're feeling like
Hmm.
light and airy and fun and it feels
Hmm.
good, then that's typically a good sign for you to consider
Hmm.
that person. But if you're feeling negative vibes or it's just
Hmm.
off or you just get super agitated, that means you have absorbed someone's energy or they're
Hmm.
the right people for you to be around.
Yeah.
So it's really about listening to your body and paying attention.
Yeah. And back to that point of knowing thyself.
She's
Yep.
gonna
Here comes Picasso.
slide it over to the
Look, slide it as long as
right.
it can slide. Look.
Slide to the right.
Right. That's right. That's right. So
But
again,
this is a
right?
man.
I don't know.
Lord.
Right. So knowing what's yours. So the other one had brown stuff inside of them, right? Brown squigglies.
Mm-hmm.
So there we go. So now here are some red ones. I know they
Okay.
don't look red. I'm trying to find a color that'll work well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, is that better?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, there we go. Right, versus the brown ones. You got to know what's yours,
Mm-hmm.
because if you don't know yourself, then when you start feeling these vibrations from other people, when you start feeling the energy from other people, you won't know the difference between what's yours and what's theirs.
Yes.
All right. And so, again, the importance of knowing yourself. So, y'all see me. I'm generally like this every day, all day, from the
That's
moment I wake up, right?
all, all day. So 2 o'clock in the morning. All day.
Till I go to bed. Exactly. Exactly. Right. So, when I'm not like this, it's
Yeah.
like, okay, whose stuff is this? Because this
Yes.
is not my normal disposition. Now,
Mm-hmm.
when I'm tired, when I'm
Yes.
drained, when I'm empty, that's one thing, but I'll say that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the other thing. I always let people know I'm feeling a little off today, or I'm feeling tired. I'm taking time for myself.
Quiet.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
quiet. It's quiet time for me. I need to recharge. I let you know.
Mm-hmm.
But then sometimes there's those like, this ain't mine. This is a thing here. Who is this? Who does this belong to?
Mm-hmm.
So we have to, again, this is why it's important that we know who we are.
Mm-hmm. Another sign, right? Where you could tell that someone's energy is transferred over to you is
Mm-hmm.
say if someone calls you and they dump all of their
Mm-hmm.
stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
When they
Mm-hmm.
hang up with you, they're like recharged, like, okay,
Yes.
I feel so much better. Da, da,
Yes.
da. and then you hang up and you're in the corner crying,
Right.
or you are just super
Wiped out.
wiped
Yes.
out. They
Yes.
have transferred their negative energy onto you,
Mhm.
and they have absorbed all of your positive energy. And this is why it's very important where you have to, be mindful of who you allow to dump on you. Like if you have the capacity to even, receive the
Take it.
information, you
Mhm.
have to be very mindful. But this is also a part of being self-aware of
Yep.
what you can and cannot handle,
Yeah.
and things you can and cannot absorb. So
Yeah.
yes.
And let me say this too, and that is also too why sometimes people are afraid of love because can I handle it? Is
Hmm.
it too much for me to handle? But again, we have to understand we got to get in right relationship with what our definition of love is.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
So the lesson of today is get clear on what love is for you and stop calling things that are not love love.
Hmm. The true definitions of what you are fearing.
Yes,
Get clear on that. Because
exactly. It is not love. And
mm.
here to tell you about her books is the self love queen herself, Deana Davis.
Well, thank you, Dr. Walls. So I just released my new 90 Days of Self-Love planner.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm really proud of this one. I mean, because it is a 3-in-1 book, like planner, and I made it short, undated, 90 days, with the thought that you can reuse it, as many times as you need to. So there is
Hmm.
90 days of self-love activities, but it's broken down into 3 months. And then
Hmm.
there's a tracker in there where you can like write down the things that you did accomplish for that particular month. There is a
Hmm.
daily planner where it's like broken down hour by hour, which is good for us as
Hmm.
therapists because we need to write those names in for each
Yep.
hour. And there's also a space for like reflection, for like growth and your goals and where you want, what you want to attain or acquire for that particular day. So
Hmm.
that's my newest baby. I just dropped it on February 14th
Hmm.
on my website. All of my links in my bio. You can guys can follow me on Instagram. It's Deana Davis underscore LSW. So that's Deana Davis underscore LSW. There's a digital version for my iPad users. There's the the hardcover version, and a paperback version that is also available on Amazon. So that's
Hmm.
the planner. I also have a journal, a 30-day self-love journal, which takes you through everything from beginning to end in terms of your self-love journey. It also has activities, but it also has journal prompts for you to just really get in the groove. And
Hmm.
then there's the ebook, How to Heal from a Heartbreak, which,
Hmm.
like we talked about in the live tonight, is not just about relationships, romantic
Yeah.
relationships, or relationships. So that will help you as well.
Hmm.
And I think that's it for the books. I have one-on-one sessions available, consultations available. Everything is linked in my bio. So yeah, holler at me.
Excellent. Excellent. I do want to take a moment and shout out friend Stacy Amen Yeldell, Yeldell. She just had her book release on Sunday, which is called
Yay.
Choose Yourself.
Okay.
And it went to #1 on Amazon.
Ooh.
Yes,
Okay.
so super, super excited. I'm trying to remember, I think, oh, in the work-life balance category.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so that's truly amazing. So shout out, congratulations to her. So y'all check out Choose Yourself on Amazon. It is also goes back to what we were saying at the top or somewhere in the show about spending time with yourself. We said people are running out and they're spending 5 hours or so watching um, Risa Tisa. That's it.
I'm
I
like,
was about to make up a
right.
name. I
Yeah.
was about to make up a name,
Mm-hmm.
right? We're watching Risa Tisa. And then when we ask you to spend an hour with
Mm.
yourself or 15 minutes with yourself,
A day.
y'all will tell us that you don't have time a day, right? But you're binge watching someone else's life, and it is important that you binge watch your life
Mm.
and take inventory of your life. You want my
We
tambourine?
need to make a reel about that tomorrow. Like
Okay, no problem.
everybody is watching Risa Tisa binge
Right.
in her life. But can you binge watch your life? Like that's
Hello.
okay.
Invest in yourself.
And,
Invest those same 5 hours in yourself
and
and the
this
follow
is
up
bad.
conversation. And the right, right. And the follow up conversation.
Yes.
Right? Shay said, don't get us all together. Look.
Gather. Gathered.
Come on.
Okay.
And side note, she also said, look at that.
What'd she say?
She bought all the planners for their
Oh,
birthday. Oh, come
thank
on,
you.
Shay. Yes, yes.
Thank you.
And Leslie said,
Oh,
all right, there we
thank you.
go. There we go. Yes. So yeah, we got to take time. We got to work on ourselves. I mean, we Risa Tisa for sharing the information, what she's learned, and hopefully will be helpful to other people so that they don't have to go
Yes.
down that path and through
Yes.
that field of fear and everything else like that. Um, but come on, watch yourselves. Like
Mm.
live your life. Be the star of your own show.
You are the star, but
And
recognize.
that's the reality. Recognize it, right? Right? You are the
Yeah.
full, as my cousin used to say to me, he used to say, I'm the full feature. So, right. He's like, I'm not the preview, I'm the full feature. So, right, be the full feature of your life. Spend time, get to know it, get to know yourself. Take that hour. If you take an hour a day and
Yes.
binge watch your life, take honest inventory of your life, write about it, right? Do your spreadsheet here and write down what your fears are in each space. And as Deana mentioned, and then clarify where did the fear come from and whose is it? Is it really yours or is it something that's been passed on to you from a parent, from a friend, from a family member, from society?
Mhm.
Right. And then figure out the next thing is and clarify how you're going to get it out your life. Because all it's doing is literally weighing you down and keeping you from floating in this vibration
Mhm.
that authentically is love.
Mhm.
And that's what we about. And because of that, anything you want to say?
Nope.
Before I go? Right. And because we don't hate frogs, we are going to,
No, we will not tolerate any
we will not
frog
tolerate any
slander.
frog hate. That's right. Now the frogs are something different, but the frogs, we gonna love the frogs. And so these are my adult children's books because I say I am the self-proclaimed number one adult children's book author throughout all multiverses. I'm claiming all spaces and places. The Adventures of Froggy T and Bunny, the reunion. This is the first one. Feeling feelings. Then there's Bunny Gets Bullied and then Froggy Foo and Mungu. These are all stories about life lessons, building emotional intelligence, coping skills. All of the books have glossaries at the end as well as activity questions. And they're great conversation starters and they're also great for self reflection. And then, of course, I have my other ones, which is The Greatest Soul Journey and Live by the Spirit. Somebody said, you got a whole library.
Yeah.
And I'm super excited because the next Froggy Tea and Bunny is finished. As I mentioned, I just have to review. They sent me this past weekend the most updated version, and I just have to take time to review it and send back, and then hopefully it'll be ready. I'll probably have it drop it maybe around my birthday or my mom's birthday, somewhere around there.
Okay.
So, all right, everyone. Well, thank you for joining us here on the greatest.
Blueprint.
We are always super excited to show up. We are here the first and third Tuesdays of the month. You can check the replay. There's a lot on this one. We encourage you subscribe to our channels. Deana, what are your social media handles?
On YouTube is Deana Davis LSW. On Instagram is Deana Davis. And on Instagram and TikTok is Deana Davis underscore LSW.
Okay. And all my handles are Ask Dr. Walls, AskDrWalls. And on YouTube, it's Ask Dr. Walls 525. Be sure to click, like, subscribe, and follow. And watch the replays and share the replays. Oh, and for those who don't know, I have a free Goal Getter 101 workshop this Sunday, February 25th at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. you can go to goalgetter101.com. So that's GOALGETTER101.com and sign up. It is free. All right, for now, for a limited time. So I
Yes.
encourage you to sign up and trust and believe if you, God bless you, Shay. And so every time I do this workshop, it's gonna be a little bit different. So just because you came before, don't mean you're gonna get the same stories, don't mean you're gonna get the same flavor. You're gonna get some different insights, and you never know what key is going to unlock you.
Mhm.
All right, and move you to that next level. Our goal is for you to tap into your greatest blueprint so that you can live your greatest life. So, as always, God bless, and we will see you again real soon.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.